guys, welcome back to the channel. Since I revealed my McLaren 570 GT a couple of weeks ago, a lot of people have asked me why I bought this car and not other cars, and why didn't I go for a Porsche or a Lamborghini and others. So this video is for me to explain my decision-making process. I'm gonna talk to you about the different candidates I was looking for over the last number of months, and explain why I didn't select those and why I ultimately went for the 570 GT. So hopefully you'll agree with me in my rationale, or maybe not. So happy for you to put your comments down below, and let's start the conversation. So the first thing I want to just clarify is, why did I get rid of my Jaguar F-Type? Great car, fantastic car, and maybe we can dedicate another video to some of the reasons, but the fact is that for the channel it was not generating any significant interest. The fact is that, you know, there's an image situation with Jaguar that they have to deal with, honestly. They have to appeal to a younger demographic. I'm not saying that people that buy Jaguars are old people. I mean, look at me. But at the end of the day, you know, it's a fantastic car, and people go for Porsches and go for other brands that they find more exciting, because there's something around the marketing and the corporate culture that, you know, I think Jaguar needs to reflect a lot. So it wasn't giving me much in terms of generating interest for the channel, and that was part of the decision, right? I also drove it for like a good 2.5 years, and I enjoyed it. It was a great car, and I wouldn't mind having another one in the future, but it was time for something different. So let's talk about the different options that I was looking at. Again, this was a search that probably lasted about 6 months. One of the first cars that I was looking at was the McLaren 12C, and I'm gonna put pictures here. That is a great car. Probably one of the first, if not the first, road car for McLaren. It's got some reliability issues. The price point now is great. You can get it, you know, way below $100,000, in great condition, if well kept. I mean, it's a fast car. You can do a lot of modifications to it. It was great car. I looked at it, I looked at a few examples, but ultimately went for something different. The next candidate I was looking at, and since I did a review profile of my friend Jerry's Gallardo, was the Lamborghini Gallardo. Hard to find one with a gated shifter. Most of them are, you know, not gated shifters, because, you know, people that have them, they don't want to get rid of them. So I definitely wanted a manual. There's issues with the clutch. That's well known, and but it's still a great looking car. It's one of my favorite Lamborghinis of all time. Why not a Huracan? Yeah, I mean, the price point is at a different level, so I was looking for a nice used, previously owned, and that could be sort of manufacturer certified type car. The Gallardo was a great choice. You know, it sounds amazing like no other car, but yeah, I didn't go for that one. The next car that I was looking at was another Ferrari. I got my 308 out there, and obviously the 458, it was a candidate. Price point is still very expensive for what it is, in my opinion. I know that Ferraris retain their value way better than Lamborghini and way better than McLaren, and that's a plus. There are issues with that car, as my tech once told me, and ultimately I said, you know what, if I'm gonna go for a used car, I'm gonna try to look for the performance that I'm looking at, and then, you know, the price point and the depreciation will be a factor. So yeah, I ultimately didn't go for it, and that pretty much got me out of any other Ferrari option, because they're still high price out in the market. So that's why I didn't go for the Ferrari 458. So the next one was the Corvette C8. Incredible car. incredible performance, faster than this McLaren. There's something with the design that is still not there for me. I think it's too angular, and that's just my taste, right? I like curves, and I like, you know, the sexy curves in a car. And there's something about the Corvette that is still not there for me, and there's some design elements that I haven't liked since the beginning. Now, performance-wise, what they did with the interior, I mean, it's highly impressive, the technology in that car, and I know there will be the variants coming up that will be amazing. Who everyone's expecting for the CR1 Corvette, and that will be mind-blowing. And maybe it's a car for the future. Maybe they make, you know, some other modifications, but ultimately I wanted a car where, you know, that I could, you know, love looking at, right? Those cars where you park somewhere and then, you know, after 3 steps you look back and look at it. That's when you know you have a car that just, you know, drives you crazy. So the Corvette wasn't that car for me. Okay, so the other one I was looking at seriously was the McLaren 650S. That's a track monster. Price point, I mean, it's coming down in terms of price. It's depreciating. I could have gotten one of those. Why didn't I? Ultimately, you know, I love the car, by the way. I could have that car tomorrow and be happy and done. And it's faster than the 570 I got. But the design, again, you know, it looks amazing. But the design of the 570, the S and the GT, to me, it looks the most as the McLaren P1. And the McLaren P1, it's probably one of my top, you know, favorite sports cars of all time. Now it's selling for $1.3 million. And I think if you look at the 570 versus the rest of the lineup, it's the one that looks the most like the P1. And that was a big difference for me. And other things that I'm going to talk about the 570, but yeah, the 650, again, I would be very happy with it, but it wasn't my choice this time. Right, so the next candidate has always been a candidate, the Porsche Cayman GT4. I used to own a Porsche Cayman. If I find the picture, I'm gonna post it here. And it was an incredible car. I think I said this in a different video. It cornered like it was on rails. 50-50, you know, weight distribution is like perfection for Porsches. The problem with that car, and you know, it happens with the Caymans and it happens with the Boxsters, is, you know, Porsche keeps them, you know, lower in the pecking order in terms of horsepower, because they don't want to cannibalize the sales of the 911. I get it, right? But that car deserves a better engine, and it deserves to go faster. It can. It's an exciting car, probably one of the most beautiful cars out there. To me, one of the 3 most beautiful designs out there. So it was a hard contender, but the power is not there yet. The sound it makes compared to other cars is not there yet. But I understand. I don't like the 911, honestly. Well, I do like the 911, but you know, I think I like the design of the Cayman much better, and that power ratio was a killer for me. Okay, so before going into the top 3 contenders, there was one more option for me, and it was a 911, Porsche 911 from 1987, 1988. You know the one I'm talking about, you know, hopefully in red with all the black, you know, rubber accents and bumpers. It's the car that would have matched my Ferrari 308. Same era. I could have imagined the Ferrari and the Porsche. And I thought about buying one and restoring it a bit and getting it sorted. They have gone up in price incredibly. So whoever bought one of the late 1980s 911s probably 10 years ago is making a killing, because they are so expensive now. So I thought about it and I said, well, you know, another project car, you know, I got plans for project cars at some point later with the channel, and ultimately I decided to go for more modern technology. So, but that was a contender, beautiful car, one of my all-time favorites. I mean, who doesn't love that car? And maybe sometime in the future, who knows? Okay, so the top three. Second runner-up was the Audi R8 V10 Plus. Yeah, what a car. I mean, I was, until the very last moment, I was looking at some spec'd out cars out there, fast as hell. What craftsmanship in terms of interior design, the external body panels I like too. I mean, yeah, maybe I like the original R8 in terms of curves versus, like I said, angles, right? But it's one that I still think, you know, I could have gone for it. That V10 Plus is the special edition. It came out, I think, a couple of years, and it's just a fantastic car. So it's one that maybe I'll consider in the future, right? Ultimately, I didn't go for it. And again, I think it was down to some other factors, and I'll explain that now. Okay, so first runner-up, this beauty, the Mercedes-Benz AMG GTR in Magno green. It still rocks my boat, honestly. I better not see that car on the street, because I'm gonna, I don't know. I don't think I'll regret getting the McLaren, but that was my first runner-up. And until the very end, I was looking at one they had in Florida, very low mileage. They had one in Nebraska with 500 miles. And I mean, it's an incredible car. I believe I read somewhere that Mercedes is retiring the model. Maybe they're replacing it with something even more exciting. But again, a different kind of car. Long front hood, right? Front engine, not mid-engine, which was a decision point for me. I think I wanted a mid-engine car again. That weight distribution and the aero, definitely in the McLaren, it surpasses the Mercedes. But it's a powerful car. That Mercedes it makes an incredible noise, and interior design is amazing. The craftsmanship again. And the service is good with Mercedes. So I could have gone for it, honestly. I don't think I'll regret it, or I haven't yet. But it's something that maybe I will look for in the future, and maybe see what the replacement is. But it was a hard choice at the end, let me tell you. It's a beautiful car. I've seen one around the area in gray, like matte gray, and it looks incredible. So that was my first runner-up. So let's get to the McLaren then. Why did I go with the 570? There's a number of reasons, and many of them I'll explain in a separate video where I do a detailed walk around of the car and the things that I like, and maybe the things that I don't like that much. But ultimately, it was the design. Yeah, it's got the speed. It's got the design in the back where the glass gets all the way to the back of the car, different than the 570S, where you see pretty much the roof ends, and then you can see the engine there with an engine cover, which is great too, right? But the GT has that, you know, like finish line, more like the Cayman GT4. So if you look at both cars, they have similar curves. I was looking for this particular spec, storm gray, with that red leather and Alcantara interior with some of the carbon fiber package to it. I was looking for those rims, and that was the car, right? And then on top of that, the previous owner, he had already installed PPF in all the front of the car, so I didn't have to get into that expense. and then he had spec'd the car with the sport exhaust, which is something that the GT doesn't come with. It's typically, I mean, it's standard on the 570S, and he added that. So essentially, he spec'd the car as if I would have spec'd the car, with all the trims that I would like in that McLaren. Now, the other big element was the mileage, right? It had 2,800 miles. So that, to me, was a killer, right? It was practically a new car. It's a 2017, and it feels like a brand new car. And I bought some extended warranty. I bought it from the McLaren dealership in Charlotte. The service was incredible through the process of the sale. I'm super happy with them, and I'm gonna ask them to service the car whenever that needs to happen. And I mean, there were many elements. At the end of the day, it looks amazing. There's nothing like opening those doors anywhere you go, and people's reactions have been amazing. I'm super happy with it. I can't tell you how fast it is, because sometimes it's like, wow. You know, I'll get video of that at some point. I have plans to do that, but yeah, I think the design of the car, the engineering, they've replaced now the 570S and GT sports line with the new McLaren Artura. You might have seen the reveal last week. It's a hybrid V6. It's the first time that, not the first time, because they did the P1 also hybrid style, but I think that's where McLaren is going. It's going full EV at some point. Not my cup of tea. I'm not ready for, you know, electric yet, but definitely a beautiful car, a different concept. We'll see when we can see it live, and hopefully I'll go to the dealership in Charlotte and get some video as soon as it's there. But again, you look at my GT and it looks like it was made, you know, 2 weeks ago. It looks modern. I think it's gonna, that design is gonna remain relevant for many years. So many other reasons why, many other things I want to show you. I want to do some detail review of the car, and that's coming in a future video, so stay tuned to GarageBots. I wanted just to explain my rationale, and many people have been asking, and hopefully you'll join me in the journey of the McLaren, of Patty, my TT, many other things coming for Patty, and then, you know, the continued restoration of the Ferrari 308 and other things, other surprises coming up for GarageBots. So thank you for subscribing, hanging in with me. Thank you for that, and I'll see you around again soon. Take care.